Do you believe in like aliens and stuff? Because I think you probably do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, of course. They've been around for thousands of years. What do you think built the pyramids? Not people. There's no
Mm.
way people built the pyramids.
Mhm. Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay. This is a podcast to inspire, uplift, show forth the love of God, and help usher in the spiritual awakening. Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay. I'm your host, Jay Spillers, author and teacher. Please do like and subscribe. So I have a guest today. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Wilson. I'm a quantum healing hypnotherapist technique. I learned through Dolores Cannon and Julia Cannon and done my training with them. Did finish my level 2, and now I'm just doing my own podcast. I'm actually a host of Beyond Transcendence with Andrew. I'm also in the process of writing a book about my recent trauma, and I'm also performing, getting a community started for my coaching business.
So, did you have a spiritually transformative experience?
Absolutely. In 2021, I lost my mother, and that was I was angry and I was confused, and I didn't know how to react in such a way. So I reached out to someone who had this machine that measures your frequency and your energy. And she said, well, you're feeling lost and everything. So I recommend this author. And her name was Dolores Cannon. And I started to read Dolores' books. And then as became more fascinated with how quantum healing hypnosis works and what the mind is actually capable of, and when I went and did my actual session, it turned out I was from a past life. I was a German soldier who was sitting on the what you want to call it the places where you take people to be like burned alive, and that was part of my job. And that was my awakening when I realized that I have from the past. Well, my soul is from the past. And now this part of why I went through my trauma as a child is because of what I've done in my past.
Was this like World War II, the Nazis, or before that?
Yes, I was a Nazi, yes.
Hmm. So, is quantum healing, is that similar to energy healing?
Yes.
Hmm. How does it work?
Well, basically you have a 4 hour session. You get 2 hours with your client and you get to know your client. And then your client comes up with a cast of characters of their life, and they might have some form of discomfort or form of illness that they want healed. So basically, after the 2 hours is over, then they go through a hypnosis where it's either going through a past life, an intergalactic life, or a present life. And then once that life is completed, then we journey on to the subconscious, and the subconscious mind will facilitate in the healing of that person.
Hmm. Well, isn't there similar methods like trying to think of that method of meditation that you do? You know, a lot of people do it. Can't remember the name. Um, but like, so you basically go through and like when they're in a deep state, you're able to heal. Is that kind of what's going on?
I don't do any form of healing. I just facilitate the session. The client does all the healing themselves. It's them connecting with their subconscious mind, which is the keeper of records of whatever lives you've lived, whether it be past, maybe even present, because our soul travels, right? Our soul is always journaling. When we sleep, our soul goes on journeys. And there's a myth that, or I put the myth to sleep that when you die in your dreams, you die in real life, because that's a myth, because I've died many times in my dreams and I'm still here to talk about it.
Yeah, I was thinking of Kundalindra. Have you heard of Kundalini healing? Is it similar to that?
Yes, I have. Yeah. It's kind of like that. You can go to a past life. It's mainly just channeling your mind. Just like people that can channel like other entities, other souls, it's mainly just channeling your mind. Your mind is a powerful weapon and it's a powerful tool. You can either use it for good or you can use it for bad. That's entirely up to you. But you can do anything with your mind if you believe in it.
Is it?
It's all about belief.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's kind of similar to like when you do yoga nidra, which is like a really form of deep relaxation. When you get relaxed enough,
Mhm.
you're able to heal. And you're kind of like all going to the same place. This healing part where your conscious is very relaxed, and then you're able to work through things. And you seem to work through past life regression a lot.
Yes, I do. Because my trauma from my childhood is based on my past life regression. So what I'm doing right now is trying to heal that trauma that I've gone through so I can move on to the present and quit focusing on the past. And that's the biggest thing. And now a lot of people right now, we're struggling with our past and we bring it to our adults and we act like we're children, but really we're not children at all. But we have that mentality still with us because we hold on to it because it's our wounds and we have to heal our wounds before we can ascend or try to create a better life for ourselves.
Is the law of attraction kind of interconnected here? Because, it's like what you attract, whether negative or positive, sort of comes to you. And I've kind of noticed that with like law of attraction, because if I meditate, I can change the vibration and affect how I feel and how others feel around me. I haven't really been able to do too much in terms of like physical healing, but like emotionally, I have through things like that.
Absolutely. The law of attraction affects all of us. You attract what you don't want, and you attract what you do want. It all depends on the state of mind you're in and the mindset that you have. If you don't want something bad enough, it's going to show up. If you want something really bad, it will show up too. But it's all on your belief system too. A lot of it is belief. If you trust in your process, then you will get what you desire. If you don't trust in the process, then you're going to have lack and you're going to think you're in poverty, but there is no such thing as poverty. There's only abundance. And
Hmm.
surrounds us in a form of energy. Everything is energy.
Hmm. Well, and it's something that obviously seems like it takes time because like you have 4 hour sessions. So it's not like I can do this in 5 minutes. It's going to take some time.
Absolutely. Everything takes practice, right?
Hmm. Have you been able to do any physical healings through this?
Yes, I have. I've done a lot of like internal work on my body. I've also realized changed my diet completely. I changed like the process of pretty much everything. I used to lift weights, I used to bodybuild. I don't do that anymore. I meditate, I do qigong. I I read books now instead of watching TV. It's all changing. And once I started to change things, then my mind started to clear. And then I was able to start healing. Like my shoulder was jacked up like 3 days ago. And instead of going to a massage therapist, I just did my Qigong and I went over it with the gun once and that was it.
Hmm. Well, it's kind of like we have the issue of like big pharma and essentially the medical industrial complex where everything pushes drugs and it's more about managing disease rather than curing disease. And it's like, is this the thing that would, in terms of like cancer and Parkinson's and whatever, where we could first prevent it, but if it does happen, to heal from it?
Well, the reason we get cancer is because we bury our emotions deep inside of us and they fester. And your body is alive. If you continue to like treat your body the way you treat like someone else that you don't like, your body's going to notice this and it's going to realize it. And as it realizes what's going on, it's going to start to attack you because it's going in a defense mechanism. But if you actually communicate and tell your body you love it and your cells, your body will work with you because we are God when it comes to our bodies. And we have all the control of the world. And disease has only been created because the medical system. It's just like the war on drugs. The reason there's so many drugs is because there's a war on drugs. Everything is energy. And when we energetically connect it, we realize that we are creating more and more problems just by thought. And we don't even realize we're doing it. And the media's got everything to blame on it. Like we all have a part to blame. We all have to take accountability. If you don't want to take accountability, then this is going to continue to happen. But if you want to face up whatever you're dealing with and not turn to, say, going out to groups or being a part of like protests or something, then you'll see change. You'll see a lot of drastic change and you'll see things for the better. And eventually people are going to have to work together because we're going to have to get small communities get going again because people are going to have to learn how to communicate again. Otherwise, you won't survive.
Have you ever wanted to learn to meditate? Check out my book, Meditation for Everyone: How to Quickly Have a More Peaceful, Mindful, and Fulfilled Life, and support this channel. With Meditation for Everyone, you will learn to quickly and easily meditate, relieve stress and anxiety, alleviate depression, and have more joy, peace, and relaxation. What you will learn: mindfulness, the art of stillness, step by step on how to meditate, strategies for overcoming challenges to meditation, and much more. D. Mason said this is a nice meditation book, even for those already meditating. I agree with the statements that it will help to have a more peaceful, mindful, and fulfilled life. 4.6-star rating, available on Amazon. Well, they've made connections between stress and cancer. And you kind of think of like a lot of celebrities, like Shannon Doherty recently died of a cancer. And like many years ago, Michael Landon, who, seemed larger than life, died of cancer. And you kind of wonder, like, what was their internal struggles with inside?
Exactly. You don't know what people are going through because they don't tell you anything. Because we were told like we need to talk to professionals. When in all fairness, we have to talk to each other, like talk to ourselves even. Getting to know ourselves because a lot of people don't know themselves. They just know the identity that was created for them when they were born. They don't know the actual inner child inside of them. They don't know the person they are now because they follow someone else's idea. They follow someone else's reality. They don't follow their own reality. And when you start to follow your own reality, then you start to unlock ways to heal yourself through the mind and through plant medicine. And even there's so many different types of plants that you can eat. Even if you just eat more vegetables, you'll see a dramatic change in how you feel because the brain, not only is it in your head, but it's in your stomach. And if you're going to keep filling your stomach full of like toxins or whatever, then your mind is going to be unclear and there's going to be no clarity. And you'll be stuck emotionally, physically, and you will not get well because you choose not to be well.
Mm-hmm. Do you think a lot of what is needed for a spiritual awakening is, and this is kind of came to me a week and a half ago, is we need connections first and foremost with ourselves, but then able to better connect with others around us. It starts with ourselves, our families, communities, nation, globally, and different institutions. We need to connect because we're really disconnected right now. And I think that's what's steering a lot of the mental health issues is we're alienated and isolated from each other and from really understanding ourselves.
Absolutely. Well, you have a pandemic that was released and it brought fear into everyone, and now everyone is scared to like shake hands or get together with people because of just that phobia. That fear has gotten inside of you and now it owns you. And when fear takes over us, it makes us do unimaginable things and we don't even realize we're doing it. And the reason we're separated is because we're separated from birth. I mean, we're all energetically connected. We all come from the same source, and but we don't see it that way. We see each other as a different race, a different sex, even homosexuality. Like homosexuality, the reason homosexuality exists is because you took it from a past life. You didn't bring it to this life. You brought it from another life. And that's where people think they're born this way. Yeah, they're born this way, but they also brought it from their past life because they were a man or a woman in their past life. And they don't realize this because they don't understand how the mind works and how powerful what you can create will just appear before your eyes and you won't even realize it. It's just by a thought. And that's what we don't understand is we just have no control over our thoughts because we're focused on the negatives. We're focused on scared. We're not focused on love. We're not focused on compassion. We're not focused on any of that because it's a competitive nature. It's an animalistic tendency to like want more and strive for more, but you're willing to step on someone else's throat to get it. And that's not the process. That's not the way things work. And the reason that everyone is stuck is because they were taught that mentality. You're taught that mentality as soon as you get into school and you don't even realize it. And then when you become adult, you don't understand the real meaning of life. You just understand how to go home, go to work, go to sleep, and live life to exist, not live life to enjoy.
Hmm. So, like, do you think there's a spiritual awakening going on right now? Because it seemed like the last couple years, it started to open up quite a bit, and it seems like it's speeding up now. I don't know if you see that or feel that.
Absolutely, I feel that. I feel that around other people because I'm an empath. So when I walk out in public, I can feel people's energies. And then there's the vibrations are raising. Plus, we're shifting into another earth basically. We're shifting into a time where love and compassion are going to be like the strength and the unity, and peace is going to be a currency. It's not going to be about the almighty dollar anymore. It's going to be about helping each other and learning to coexist with each other and understanding that even being afraid of AI is a part of us too, because we are all AI. We are machines with souls inside of us. Yet we don't realize that because we are taught a different mentality. You don't learn this mentality until you stop reading what you read every day and you start reading something that makes more sense to you. And then when you start to understand it and you study it more, then you realize that we are all a part of history and that every one of us has done some form of wonderful thing in history, yet we don't even know it because we think that the person that did it is not us, it's someone else. But it's our soul that's been everywhere. Like you think about it, like there's people that are probably a million years old and they don't even realize it because their soul has traveled from life to life.
Hmm. Or do you think I mean, it's kind of like the progress is sort of happening at the same time. It's kind of like we always think linear, like when you look at the Bible, you think of, okay, there's trials and tribulations, and then there's supposed to be, a new earth and a new reign of peace. But like, what if it's happening all at the same time? Some people are going to be going through trials and tribulation, and things will get worse for them, and some people will be elevating vibrationally because we may end up having a World War III, but at the same time, there's going to be millions of people that are going to be raising the vibration and making new connections, creating a new earth effectively, all at the same time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, but the World War III, I believe that's going to happen is going to be a spiritual World War III, and that people are going to either coexist or they're not going to coexist. Like a lot of people are probably going to die in 2025, and that's just the process of life, and that we have no control of that. All we can do is give them support and give them whatever they need or whatever they desire, and just try to get them on the right path. But you cannot change someone else's mentality because that goes against free will. I can't force someone to believe what I believe. They have to believe it themselves. And if you want to believe in something, then believe in it. But if you don't, that's your free right too. Like that's why free will was ever created for us. We are always going to be lost until we find our way. And the movie The Matrix is a prime example of taking the red pill or the blue pill. Like a lot of us growing up, we all took the blue pill. When you get older, you take the red pill. when you wake up, but you have to wake up first. But you have to lose something first. And then when you lose it, lose something like, say, a family member or an animal, then you have to understand why you lost this person. But we will never understand that because instead of understanding, we mourn. And because we mourn, we keep our family members here and they can't ascend to where they're supposed to go because we're holding them here by wishing upon them or like constantly thinking about them. Just let them go. And that's the process that we don't understand is we have to let go and relinquish control. And that's the hardest thing that anyone can do. I know myself, I struggle with it every day because my entire life I had no control over what I did. And now as an adult, I have the control, but I have to learn to just let it go. And that's one of our biggest tasks will be is letting go.
It's kind of like we have paradigms where we feel powerless. And sometimes I don't know if you ever heard of like this particular theological perspective called dispensationalism, where it's kind of like, well, everything's just going to go to crap, everything's going to get worse, but then God's going to come over here and save us all. But it's like, well, really, we need to be working to create the new earth ourselves. God will work through us, but it's going to come through us, primarily creating this new earth, this new paradigm. And there's other people that are just hopeless in general. They don't even think something later is coming to save us. They just believe it's all, going to go to crap.
Yeah, but that's the fear aspect, right? And that's what we were brought up with is fear. And because fear will take over and control our minds, and we'll think things like being afraid of, like, say, COVID or being afraid of, like, the AIDS virus. Everything that we are afraid of, we create it more and more. So the more you fear it, the more it's going to be created. And we don't even know that we're creating it just by how we talk. We can create things. So if you're thinking negatively or you're worried about the end of the world, don't be worried about the end of the world. The end of the world is not coming. There is no end of the world because you're an everlasting soul. There is no end. You're always living and you're going to constantly live till you're done. And then you move on to the next planet. Like
Mhm.
that's the whole idea is we don't realize that. We think we're here to like live life and do it. No, we're not here at all. We're here to have an experience as a human. We are a soul having a human experience. Yet we don't know that because we weren't taught that. And
Mhm.
even the churches don't teach you this. You got to go outside of your norm to find this or read books. That's the only way. Or look inside of yourself through meditation. Meditation, the answers will come to you too. It just depends on how intuitive you really are and how much you trust your intuition.
You're listening to the Inspire Me with Jay podcast. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. Bringing hope and inspiration to the world.
It always seemed to me that the mentality was destruction or collapse were always just around the corner. And, somehow it never seemed like it fully materialized because things might get worse, but then they would get better. And, but it's like now I think the mentality may be changing where people aren't necessarily thinking destruction and collapse are around the corner. They're starting to think, well, maybe there's hope. Maybe there can be something better. Do you think that that's true?
Absolutely. Like my coaches or my mentors that I learned from, they do a podcast like every week that talks about time shifts and like how everything's going well. And even like with AI, everybody's afraid of AI, but AI is no different than us. And AI will never attack us because AI is a reflection of us. So if AI attacks us, it's because we want it to attack. And if we want it to attack, then it's just going to reflect on us and it's going to come back on us. It's not going to affect any other person. Everything we do is a reflection of us because, say, a part of you, Jay, is in me and a part of you is in me. Like we're all energetically connected and we don't even realize it. But
Mhm.
that's the beauty of it. It doesn't matter what race you are because at the end of the day, you're energy. We're all energy.
Well, I mean, isn't it kind of inevitable that, because I don't know if you've ever heard of Mellon Thomas Benedict. He had a very profound near-death experience, and he said years ago that we're kind of moving in a direction like Star Trek. obviously I think it's going to be more spiritual than Star Trek because it never seemed very spiritual, but the AI replication automation is sort of how you get to the post-scarcity world where, you live in abundance. It's part of the process to get there, and there'll be some displacement initially at the beginning, but inevitably it's how you get to the more peaceful world that you see in Star Trek.
Yeah, absolutely. And that will come. Like we will be able to space travel and everything eventually. It's coming. It's always been coming. Like AI has been around since World War II, and it's not even taken off yet. There's still like more bugs to work out. Like I mean, they got AI actual bots now, but I mean, they're still working out the kinks. And yeah, eventually AI will be a part of spiritual and will be like Star Trek, where we'll have just one computer and it'll be organically created. Like Nostradamus predicted all of this. This was in Nostradamus's prophecies. Like there's going to be the bad and then there's going to be the really, really good. And then we're going to have peace for so many thousands of years. And then eventually it's time to restart again. And this time when you restart, you're not going to be here. You're going to be somewhere else. You're not coming back to this earth. When you're done, either you're going to the new earth or you're going to a much denser planet where it's a lot more intense than what we're experiencing now.
Mhm. Well, and a lot of the problems like environmental issues and things like that. There's a lot of things they're talking about, like basically greening deserts and large parts of Africa, which are kind of barren and desolate, greening them. And, you have things like hemp, which can be used for practically everything, including biodegradable plastics, that we're on the verge of turning a lot of those things around, but you don't really hear too much about it.
No, and it's going to take time. It's like everything, right? Like everything takes time to grow. Plus you got politicians and governments that want a totally different idea. And if you can convince politicians and governments to work with you and not against you, then yes, you can create whatever you want. And eventually there will be a time where there will be no more governments, there'll be no more doctors, there'll be no more systems in general. Schooling won't exist. People will learn things like the old days, like, and it'll be spiritual elders. It'll be like shamans. It'll be like music to like heal yourself, like listening to vibrations or binaural beats to heal yourself, as opposed to putting a needle inside your arm. Like these things are coming, and AI is going to be a part of all of it.
Mhm. Well, it will essentially be that the world will be globally united, but people will be living locally, that they'll have essentially communities that we look to do different things, like education. So you won't have like a centralized government per se, just more of like local communities.
Absolutely. And that's what it was. That's how it was back in like our grandparents' days, like before like government was introduced and I think it was before 1756, I believe, is when it was actually like constitutionalized. The United States was built. Before the United States was built, everyone had free range. Everyone could do whatever they wanted, could go wherever they wanted, didn't have to worry about this regulation or that regulation. You could just go and come and go as much as you wanted. And soon you won't even need planes because you'll be able to teleport. I mean, teleportation will even be a thing. We won't have to fly anymore. We'll just teleport.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of time. And as we know, time doesn't exactly exist. Like we're in the 22nd, we'll be in the 22nd century. I'm like, it's coming because time keeps speeding up and we don't even realize it. But you can see the shifts in people even now. Like there's a lot more love and compassion going on now than there was before. And that's what I've started to notice. I don't know about you, but that's what I've been noticing here.
Well, so it's a thing in terms of politics and government that we're not looking to government to solve problems. We're kind of just looking for government to kind of get out of the way so that we can move forward and not get, disrupted, not get sort of hampered down by it. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, we just want we don't want government to stand down because if government stands down, then, We want them to work with us. We all need to work with us, work with each other. Like everyone is the same, regardless of what you've done in your past or not, government or not. We're still all the same, and we need to work together and learn to coexist with each other. And you don't have to per se, like you don't have to like get rid of government. You just have to work with government and understand government because you're gonna need like people to protect you from other galaxies. I mean, there's why the US Space Force was created. You're still going to have those other outside forces that are people that are going to want more than what you have to offer, and they're going to get greedy. Like, you can't stop people from doing what they want. That goes against free will. So you're going to have good and you're going to have bad because that's how there's the yin and the yang. You have to have balance. If you just have constant good, then the world will not exist because the world didn't exist because of that. Because Atlantis tried that and they got so perfect with their technology that they had to be destroyed. And that's what it comes. We can't be perfect. We have to have balance because we are a part of an experiment. If we're fully perfect, then we don't exist. It'll just get destroyed again and restarted all over again. You have to have the test, you have to have it because it's a game, right? Life is a game. This is all based on like a matrix simulation, if you want to call it that. This is like how it is, and you have to get through this level. Okay, now you've gotten through that level, now you have another test. Like we're always going to have tests. When we become completely perfect, then we're done. It's on to the next, or this planet is done.
Hmm. So, what do you see in terms of the spiritual awakening? Like, what's the most important thing going on? What do we need to be doing for the spiritual awakening?
Just healing, just understanding, learning you, like learning who you actually are and where you come from, and not believing that you're a part of this world when really you're a part of many worlds and you don't even realize it. You're an energetic being and you can manipulate energy and you can heal yourself with your mind just
Hmm.
by talking to your body and understanding your body. You can create your own abundance, you can create your own health, and you could stop believing in fear because there's no fear. It's an illusion. Just like discomfort is an illusion. We don't like to say pain because pain gives it life, gives it energy. But it's all an illusion that we created when we were born. Once you get to your spiritual awakening, that illusion is gone. And then you can just let bygones be bygones and not have to worry about like what other people think because other people are dealing with their own stuff. And they might take it out on you, but that's only because they themselves are hurting. And that's the part that we don't realize. We think that everyone is out to get us, but they're not. They're going through their own struggles, but they're not owning their own struggles. Instead, they're attacking you with their struggles. When people start to realize that it's all on them and they're accountable for how they act, you'll see a big change in people because people won't want to react. People won't want to get hostile. They'll want to show love and compassion because that's the type of emotion and love they want. They want to feel that.
Hmm.
And that's what spiritual awakening is all about, realizing that you're accountable for everything you do in life. You are 100% accountable because you chose this life. You signed up for this contract. You chose your parents. You chose the way you were brought up. You chose it all. So any bad thing that happens to you in this life is your doing, and you don't even realize it's your doing. And when you become spiritually awakened, you make peace with everything that's around you because there is no person trying to harm you. There is no illness. There is no violence. It's all simulated. It's all created by you.
Hmm. And I think you have to be sort of patient with yourself too, because it's kind of a process. So it's like if you can see right now, I'm not fully there, it's okay. It's okay where you are, but just keep
Mhm.
moving forward.
Definitely. Absolutely. It's not built in a day. Like Rome wasn't built in one day. The pyramids of Giza weren't built in one day. Everything takes time. You have to grow into this type of person because you were taught totally differently growing up. So of course it's going to take time, and I'm still learning myself. I'm still learning. Like, man, I got like years to learn still. We all do. It's going to take time. It's just trusting the people that's around you and look onto the mentors. Look on the people that have been doing this since they're 5 years old, like mentors, people like built monasteries and they didn't realize they had no skills to build a monastery. And they built a monastery because they trusted in their mind and their mind led them to building blueprints for a monastery, getting all these clients for the monastery. They didn't do that. Their mind did that.
Hmm.
When you get connected with your mind, you can do anything. Like look at all the powerful people in the world. Look at the Buffetts, look at the Rockefellers. They tapped into this type of energy. What they did wrong was they got competitive with it. And that is they're going to be their demise. That's the demise of anyone. There is no competitiveness when it comes to abundance. You have to accept it with love and honor it and cherish it and believe in it. But you cannot get competitive. The second you get competitive, get out of whatever you're doing because it's going to take you down a different path that you want to be on.
Hmm.
So it's also about following the right path. And your body and mind will tell you that too. In a form of communication, sometimes it'll break your legs, sometimes it'll put you in a car accident because you're on the wrong path. But you sign, that's what you created for yourself. And you have to trust in the process. And it comes with time. We all know this. I mean, I knew my mother was going to die regardless the day of that she passed away. But for us that don't understand why our parents die or why these things happen is because they were already set in process.
Hmm. So where can people reach out to you if they want to get a hold of you?
You can check me out on my email, btwa2024@gmail.com, or you can check out my podcast, Beyond Transcendence with Andrew.
Hmm.
I'm always willing to talk to anyone that wants to reach out. You want to talk or come on the podcast, more than welcome to. I want to hear about your journey. I want to hear about what brought you to spirituality.
Hmm.
I'm not shy. This is me, raw and authentic. There's no script with this cat. I'm just straight from the heart, straight from the soul.
Hmm. Yeah, well, thanks for coming on. Do you believe in like aliens and stuff? Because I think you probably do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, of course. They've been around for thousands of years. What do you think built the pyramids? Not people. There's no
Mm-hmm.
way people built the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I totally believe in reptilians and Anunnaki, Pleiadians, Watchers. There's thousands of I mean, we're not from here. We're aliens ourselves and we don't even realize it.
Yeah, I know because I heard there was one on um Alpha Centauri in that region on that star system, and their two stars are very close to our suns. And I thought they said they thought they saw a planet there, but it hasn't been confirmed. And then of course there's Proxima B, which is in the habitable zone, but that one's a little more tricky because it goes around a red dwarf star. Do you know if there's like life on that one? I've always been wondered about Proxima B. It's the closest one to us.
I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar with those planets. Still learning my with my the lady that I learned QHHT from her books. Her clients, every one of her clients that she interviews talks about like different planets. So if you're interested in learning about like other planets, I would check out any of Dolores Cannon's books, either uh, Legacy from the Stars, The Custodians, Three Waves of Volunteers in the New Earth. Like there's so many that you can choose from that she's written, and it's all about like UFO. Like yeah, check them out. They're good books. They'll actually give you some answers on a lot of things, what happened, and even like Nostradamus's prophecies. Like she interviewed clients that spoke to Nostradamus directly, and that's why the prophecies exist because he time traveled. Whether people want to believe it or not, he had an obsidian mirror that he got gifted from him from Atlantis, and he figured out how to time travel, and he was able to cure his clients with medicine back in the 1500s because of what he learned in the future.
Have you ever wondered whether the Bible was compatible with a near-death experience? In my book, Heaven's Truth, the parallels between the Bible and the near-death experience, your faith will be strengthened while you support this channel. In Heaven's Truth, you will learn about near-death experiences and other similar experiences in the Bible. Support for the Bible contained in NDEs, a central theme that runs through both the Bible and NDEs, how the NDE brings the Bible to life for these modern times, evidence for both the Bible and the NDE, and much more. Great book. Spillers does an excellent job weaving the relationship between NDEs and the scriptures. 5 stars on Amazon, available on Amazon.